This March, I was preparing to watch this movie by playing Mortal Kombat. And in this movie, I got a little bit disappointed when my favorite character, my main dude didn't appear. Just why? Why couldn't they have included the Joker? Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we are going to be reviewing Mortal Kombat, the new Warner Bros. Movie. Yeah, so this movie is about a dude named Huang who stumbles upon a dude named Jax, and they become best friends and get superpowers. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, you know the movie. It's stupid, it's dumb, it's fun. It's entertaining as hell. This movie is great. There's no doubt about that. Anyways, I want to talk about some great stuff about this film, such as the original soundtrack to this movie is incredible. The soundtrack's badass. Like, at some points it's like 80s music, and then at other points it's like cinematic music. It just really like steals the film, and I feel like it's so good to always have a really good original soundtrack, because like that's the reason I really like Godzilla vs. Kong, because as I said, it has like synth music inside of it. Same with this movie. Really love that about movies, but when a movie doesn't have like a good soundtrack, it's just like ba-bum. You know, like Josh Whedon's Justice League, I've seen some clips of that. It has a bad soundtrack. Like, it's not the best. Like Danny Elfman, sure, he's good, but there's a lot of scenes inside of Justice League that have bad music. Not the new Justice League, but yeah, the 2017 one. But yeah, this movie has absolutely great music inside of it, and I think that's one of the reasons I love it. It's just so awesome. It's so good. Anyways, fight choreography is another big thing I found was very good with this film. As much as the CGI had its faults and problems, a lot of it was actually just fight choreography with like maybe a big green like monster like to make the CGI work. But a lot of it was fight choreography, which I love when movies go practical effects instead of visual effects. This movie had quite a bit of visual effects, but I don't think that like changed that there was a lot of fight choreography, and I feel like that really brought this movie up, because I'm like, wow, they really had to train hard for this movie, because they're like jumping around, you know, jumping off of like trees and that type of shit, throwing the fucking swords at each other. Like, it's insane, this movie, and the fight choreography really stand out for me, so woo. Moving on to the next great thing about this movie, we have the humor. Now, you would think this movie wouldn't be very funny because, you know, we don't have Johnny Cage in the mix, but I feel like for some reason this movie is really funny, not just because there's a lot of jokes with like Kano, like he is hilarious in this movie, but I feel like the action, like the brutalities are hilarious inside of this movie. They look cheesy as hell, for sure, but they're really good. Like, really, they're cheesy and well done. It's like Willy's Wonderland, you know? Cheesy and well done at the same time, and that's what this movie really did well, and I love that about this movie. There were a lot of funny scenes, though, I had to say, with Vlad's Kano. Like, he really stole the show at some points. I think probably the best, well, most funniest scene, I should say, is when Vlad's Kano is talking to Kong Lao, and he's asking for an egg roll, and he calls him like Kung Pao or something. Top tier comedy. No, it's actually really good. But this movie, the thing about this movie that I feel like is very important, and many critics will diss on it, is because there's a lot of fan service in here that the fans will really appreciate, while movie critics won't appreciate it as much. For me, I'm not like too big of a fan of Mortal Kombat. I mean, I really like the games and that type of stuff, but I'm not like Mortal Kombat, not like playing it every day, of course not. But yeah, it's really good when it's fan service. You get a whole bunch of cool characters inside of, like, a whole mix of characters inside of here, and then you get some really good fight scenes from those characters. And I think the one that really stood out to me was Liu Kang. What happened with Liu Kang is he did this bicycle kick like in the game, and I remember doing that with a good friend when we were playing Mortal Kombat. He did this bicycle kick to this big guy like in oh no, I guess he was fighting Cabal in the movie. But he did this bicycle kick, and I'm like, wow, they actually put in some of the moves into this movie. And they did it again with other characters like Scorpion, Cabal. Like, they did it with a couple characters, which I thought was really cool. Oh, they did it with Kong Yu Lao too. Next up, we have chemistry between the actors inside of this movie. The actors have great chemistry together. That's no doubt about that. They just work so well together, every single one of them. Sometimes, you know, the acting gets a little bit off. We'll talk about more in the bad, but most of the time, the acting with each other is really good inside of this. Even like Raiden and the bad villain dude, like those guys have like decently good chemistry inside of this movie that you would think would have been pretty bad acting, but really good chemistry inside of this. And our last thing on the good, we have how cinematic this movie was. This movie was so cinematic at some points. I feel like the start with Scorpion was probably the most cinematic parts you'll get, and probably the end with like Raiden and the big bad guy. That had a lot of cinematic scenes, and I love when a movie like you think might be dumb, but then it turns out to be really cinematic. I thought this movie was going to be cinematic, of course, because like the trailer with the music and everything. I think the music actually really helps with being cinematic, and this movie is really good when it's being cinematic, and I love that about it. Like even in the desert, you know, some of the shots inside of there just feel so goddamn incredible. Anyways, let's go into the bad about this film. Okay, there was one fight scene. Every other fight scene is great to me in this, but there's one fight scene where the big bad guy is fighting our main character, Cole Young, and it just is not a good fight scene. It looks like Hulk, from the Incredible Hulk, like the 2008 movie. It looks like that versus like this little dude. It just is terrible. It's a terrible fight scene, and every time, like, I'm making this video on Mortal Kombat, like a fan edit, but every time I look at that scene, I'm like, oh, this is garbage. Like, they should have just gone with something easy. I know they wanted to put in some fan service for that big character, I forgot his name, but they put in some fan service there, but the fight scene wasn't good with him. Just because it doesn't feel like very much practical effects, more of CGI, like visual effects, but yeah, it just was not a good fight scene. Now, the next part, it's amazing that I'm putting this on here, but too many F-bombs inside of this movie. As much as I like them to just keep on swearing up a storm, I don't know about this movie. They were just like, boom, boom, boom. Like, it's different from Deadpool because, you know, he swears, like that was in the comics, and sure, when Vlad's Kano is swearing, it's kind of in his language, you know? Like, that's how he talks. But there's just some F-bombs in here that don't feel like they deserve to be in there, and I feel like they used it a little bit too much. A little bit too much. Like, they could have, like, toned them down to, like, how many did they have? Like, 30 or something? Tone it down to, like, 15. Like, I feel like Zack Snyder's Justice League used F-bombs perfectly. There were 3 F-bombs. The first one was kind of hard to catch, but they did it really well inside of that movie. Well, in this one, not as much. Next, we have the acting. The acting is meh in this film sometimes. Like, it's just, there's some points where the acting is, it just doesn't work too well. And Vlad's Kano sometimes isn't the best actor, even though he's funny and all. Not the best actor. Syria, what's her face? Syrup? I don't know. Whatever her name is. She isn't the best actor either. Cole, the actor Cole, he's meh, I guess. There's a lot of not the best actors in here. It still doesn't ruin the movie to me. Like, they did get a lot of great actors to play, like Kong Yu Lao, Liu Kang, Vlad's Kano was a great choice. Subzero, Scorpion, all great choices. But the acting does get a little bit toned down in the middle, like the second act of the movie. Next up, we have plot convenience. Now, I feel like the plot convenience in this movie, there's one scene where Cabal is trying to get Vlad's Kano to join the team of evil fellas. And to me, that was the dumbest shit you could have done. Like, I don't know what they were thinking when the producer was thinking, like, okay, so we gotta make the team, the shield fall down. So let's get, what's his face? Cabal to trick Vlad's Kano. Perfect. I just feel like it's the dumbest shit ever, and it's so like plot convenient, and it just kind of brought down that part. It's fine though, I guess. Next up we have the pasting. Now the pasting inside this movie isn't always the best, especially this one scene that I'll play right now.
One more thing, champ. That dragon logo you got, I dig that, man. It's unique. Where'd you get it from?
He was born with it.
What do you mean?
It's a birthmark.
You serious?
Pretty cool, show him.
Yes, as you can see, I did not do anything with that scene. It just does not feel right. The motions of the characters are like, they're crossing their arms and then they're not. Like, it's just weird to me, and I don't feel like they did their best with that one scene. They should have tried it like a couple more times. Film one guy, film the other guy, but keep their motions the exact same, and they didn't do that. It was weird. That scene was really weird to me. But yeah, there's other pasting scenes. I don't want to put them in here. I don't want to get copyright or anything, but yeah, there's a lot of pasting scenes that just don't work inside of this. The pasting doesn't work, yeah. Anyways, moving on to our next part. It has a short runtime. This movie is 1 hour and 50 minutes, and it's hard to make a good character arc for every single character. That's why Zack Snyder's Justice League was 4 hours long. But with Mortal Kombat, there just isn't enough time with some of the characters. Like, the villain and his goons need much more time than like the heroes. They got like a lot of the movie, while the villains didn't get much, and I didn't really care about the villains. Like, the girl with the messed up mouth, like, didn't give a rat's ass about her. Cabal, I like Cabal because he's fucking cool, but when it comes down to the other villains, they're just not in. The dude with the hammer, lame as hell. The guy that looks like Hulk, lame. Subzero, of course I like him because he's my main. Joker and Sub. But yeah, other than that, it's just the short runtime kinda like screwed around with the movie, and if it was maybe 2 hours, 20 minutes, 10 minutes, it would have been even better. But it's still a great movie, still love it. Anyways, going on to our score for this movie, I'm going to give it an 84 out of 100. I did not expect this movie to be as good as it was. I thought it was going to be meh or good. And it turned out to be great. And 2021 has been a very good year for film at the moment. We've got great movies and great shows, including Invincible. I need to review that. But yeah, 2021's been great so far, and Mortal Kombat just blew my expectations away. I mean, I was excited for it just because I knew it was going to be like violent and that type of stuff, and it was, but I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. So, anyways, tell me what you thought of Mortal Kombat down in the comment section. Did you hate it? Did you like it? Or did you love it? I want to know. And I feel like a lot of movie critics are giving it low scores, and, you know, kind of pisses me off because it's not a bad movie. So, I don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching. Please subscribe.